Welcome to Lit Chat, the literary podcast from the Omega Phi chapter of Sigma Tau Delta. I'm Madelyn Parker.
Hi, I'm Cate Kurtz.
And I'm Kallie Olson.
We're going to talk about modern interpretations of Greek mythology. So to start it off, I think we could do a little bit of background for those that aren't that familiar or well-versed in Greek mythology. Cate, Kallie, you guys know the most about this.
All right, so do you just want us to do a little recap of, we could do the 12 main gods who are there, or... Okay,
sure.
Perfect.
Could you sing it in the 12 days of Christmas?
Not even a little bit. No, we cannot.
On the first day of Christmas. So there's the main god, Zeus. He's the god of lightning. He's the king of the gods. His wife is Hera. They have a lot of animosity. They have a bunch of kids.
They have a horrible relationship.
To each other.
Built on lies.
Yes, and Zeus just going down and having some relations with mortals, and then surprise, we have a Greek hero.
Yeah, and Hera is the goddess of marriage, right? Yeah. So she doesn't sleep around.
She does not.
That's kind of sad in a way because he sleeps with people all the time.
What a guy.
What a guy. Yes.
Anyway, so he has two other brothers, Poseidon, who's the god of the sea, and Hades, who is the god of the underworld. They pop up a lot in Greek mythology. Mainly a lot of the bigger men in Greek mythology have a lot of promiscuous actions that then result in a Greek hero that then becomes a Greek myth that everyone loves for centuries.
I love how we're terming this as it results in a Greek hero. That literally there's just a bunch of bastards running around, but we're terming it resulted.
It results.
When I was resulted in 1997.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. I think it's essentially Game of Thrones, just to be honest. If you want to think of Greek mythology.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with Game of Thrones,
it's all sex and violence.
Exactly. Yeah. And then backstabbing each other.
Yeah.
And then they get maybe an episode or two of wow, we're doing great. Just got back to Dragonstone. And then they're like, oh great, Hera put poison in Hercules' either it was the blanket or a cup, and he kills his family. So
Hera tries to get Hercules a lot.
He does,
which is sad because in the movie, Disney movie, he's her son.
Right. Well, I was gonna say on the subject of the interpretations is the Disney-fied version of the Greek movie, the differences.
It's inaccurate, but I mean I love it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's so inaccurate.
Yeah, it's very fantastic. I mean, they didn't have gospel music.
The muses were gospel singers.
Yeah, they totally were there in one of those little amphitheaters in Athens with the nice little gospel tune or whatever.
But Hades was a sass queen.
Yes, there's some little gargoyle companions.
Also, I'm pretty sure that Hercules did not give up being a god for his girlfriend because that didn't happen.
No. He killed Meg. He's the one who killed Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then does he retain? Because he's a
he
demigod, so I don't think
he ever that's just a purely Disney wanted him to become a god, which isn't it's not right.
But it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, the true hero thing. No, the reason when you hear about the what were they called, the tasks he has to do.
Yeah, the 12 tasks.
The labors or whatever.
Labors, yeah.
And he does that because he kills his wife, because Hera makes him go crazy for a minute, and so Hercules kills Meg and their children and stuff too, and he feels so bad about it. So he goes to this guy and he's just what should I do? And he's you have to do all these labors if you want to be a good person now. So he does them.
See, my only acquaintance with the Greek myths are through Percy Jackson. So the last time I remember us talking about Hercules through Percy Jackson is that Hercules is being forced to guard some gate, and he's pathetic and sad.
Yeah.
And, what's the story behind that?
He does several things that are Hercules labors in it. Because when he cleans the stalls, remember that part? That's one of his jobs.
Oh, okay. So
he
Percy's
steals the belt, doesn't he, from the Amazon? Because remember when they interact with the Amazons and it's they own Amazon?
Yes,
Yes,
I remember that. God, you gotta love those puns that Rick Riordan doles out. But, like,
Right.
so Percy Jackson was doing Hercules' dirty work then, huh?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you gotta steal from the stories somehow and make some kind of novel out of something, but...
Yeah. And I will say that I'm pretty impressed by how Rick Riordan, or Riordan, how do you want to say his name? I'm pretty impressed by how he was able to intertwine so many Greek myths into his work. And, you know, it's easily digestible by a wide range of individuals. Like, I remember I got into it in, I think, 6th or 7th grade. And that's, in 7th grade is when we first picked up Greek mythology in my history class. And I'd walk in there every day and I'd be like, I just learned about a new Greek. My teacher would be like, shh, you can't ruin it for everyone else. It's a secret how this one ends. We'll learn next class period. But I was always very impressed by that. And it made it really fresh, because I feel like with a lot of classics, people look at it and go, oh, God.
Yeah, like when you have to read the Odyssey in class, like in a high school lit class.
Yeah, everyone
people are just not about it usually.
Yeah, they like roll their eyes and they're like, please.
Yeah.
But, like, the Percy Jackson books made me, like, fake smart, because I could just, like, say all this stuff about Greek mythology, and people are like, how do you know that? I'd be like, actually, the hearth is the symbol of this god, and this happens, and I'm like, I literally just read, like, a nerdy 12-year-old boy book. Like, that's the only reason why I know any of this stuff at all. But
I remember when we used to do, like, the academic bowl, but they made it where you didn't have to go to meets, so you got to do it just on a computer, and we'd just talk about our answer before we hit it, and any Greek mythology thing, they'd be like, Kallie, what is the answer? And I'm like, well, according to Percy Jackson. But other than that, I didn't know, in all honesty.
yeah. Okay, I have a question, though, for you guys, because we mentioned, like, before we started the podcast, like, other adaptations could be, like, some superhero movies, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and I don't actually know, I mean, like, I've seen Wonder Woman, but I don't know all of the universe behind it, but, like, what about Ariel, like, in The Little Mermaid? Because her father is Poseidon as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's like that meme that is Hercules and her together, and it's just like, guys, they're cousins.
Yeah.
Cousins, yeah.
You know, that's never stopped any of the gods before. And if I recall a previous podcast, we talked about Frankenstein, which is a totally different world, and that never stopped them either. They were also cousins, and they tried to marry them off.
But wait, but who, okay, so who is Triton?
Triton?
Triton is his son?
Yeah, I think that's his first son.
Okay. So Ariel is Poseidon's granddaughter.
Yes.
Ooh, that's creepy. Then it's kind of like her uncle. Like, if she's gonna date Hercules in those memes, and she's dating her uncle, that's freaking creepy.
I don't think they're dating.
I mean, they're not dating, but it's like,
take it that far.
You know how the fans go, and they have their one true pairings and all that stuff. It can be canon in some universes, and if it's canon in some universes, it's gross in some universes. But was Triton a demigod or like a full god?
I thought he was a full,
he would be a full god. He'd just be a minor one, I think.
Okay, so
because he would,
Yes, he would. Oh, sorry.
No, I don't. No,
I was gonna say, he was the son of Poseidon and Amphitrite, who is the sea goddess.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Never hear about her.
You never hear about her.
That's sad.
I know.
I want to be her.
And I feel like in the Percy Jackson novels, we really don't hear about any other gods or goddesses of the sea except for Poseidon. It's like the rivers, but they're not real gods. They're just river spirits.
What is the rainbow goddess?
Iris.
Yeah. So that is like the only one I feel like we ever actually hear about.
Yeah, and can I interject? I love the fact that with Iris they did include how with the rainbows, if you pay a drachma, you can like send a message to somebody. I always thought that was really cool.
That's all I remember about her, though, is that she's just a payphone. Like, that's all
she
is a payphone. She's FaceTime before FaceTime.
Yes.
Yeah. If we want to talk about the innovation of fiction, like, that was FaceTime.
It was FaceTime.
Because those books came out before FaceTime was a thing. Right?
Yeah, they did.
So,
well, was Skype a thing yet?
Probably so.
Probably, but Skype is garbage.
It wasn't big, though.
Skype has never been... Okay, off the subject. Anytime I ever have to do a job interview, because I'm a real ass adult now, I'm a senior and I have to do job interviews, and they're like, let's do it over Skype, and I'm like, that is the most janky thing we could do that over. Why are we using Skype? It's gonna break connection. It's gonna be like the last interview I did, like I only heard like 50% of what he said, and I would just smile and nod and be like,
you should have had an iris.
I know.
Where were your drachmas?
Where were my drachmas? I don't know. Like the money in Percy Jackson, I was just like, this doesn't matter to me. All I care about is the ambrosia, the blue cookies, the ambrosia and nectar.
Food.
What exactly, like, was that really true to myth? Or did Rick Riordan take liberties with that?
I think he just
kind of made it up.
I recalled an interview he did where he just said he was adding that in because, like, the whole purpose of that was the fact that Percy had an absent father, and it was, like, the mom's way of trying to not acquaint himself with, like, the sea, but just put a little bit of his dad into the area, as well as, like, with for kids. Yeah, and, like, and it's also, like, a kid thing to do. It's like, okay, well, you really like blue, now we're gonna have blue foods, like, for your birthday or whatever.
Blue is a representation of the ocean. I'm sorry, salt? Sea salt and caramel cookies. That makes more sense to me. Mom.
I mean, I'm pretty sure in the Disney adaptation, when all the gods have, like, that weird, maybe, like, an ether kind of, like, around them. I think Poseidon's was blue.
Was blue?
Yeah.
Well,
probably
was it, or is it green?
If that was my child,
I don't know, because his eyes are green, remember?
I mean, here's the thing. If I'm trying to drop subtle hints, why don't you just, like, oh, I bought this fucking bag of sea salt and then drop it on this dinner plate. Boom, your dad's Poseidon.
But he couldn't know. Like, Percy couldn't know he was a demigod, because then all these monsters would start coming after him. So you have to keep them in the dark as long as...
You had to have, what was his name?
Tyron?
No, the gross stepdad.
Oh,
yeah.
What's his name? Steve?
Gabe? It was Gabe.
Oh,
nasty ass
Gabe.
And then, but, like, it doesn't matter because Percy's hormones are too raging for anything to mask it, and then the monsters come anyway.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a metaphor. Ooh. Sorry. That was what that was a metaphor, though, for. I'm pretty sure it was just like, ooh, he's getting older.
Yeah, it's kind of like the X-Men thing. I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. I just know.
I've killed you. You're
You've
dead
killed
now.
me.
Kate, tell me about. I remember you telling me like last semester, I think, about this musical that it's like jazz. It's a jazz like themed musical, and it's about basically about the Greek gods, like what we're talking about right now.
Orpheus?
Yeah, it's actually really cool. So it's off Broadway right now, and it's by I think her name is Michelle. Oh no, it's like Annis Mitchell, I think is her name.
Okay.
She's really cool.
What is it called again?
It's called Hadestown.
Okay.
It's off Broadway right now, but it's gonna hit. I think it's hitting Broadway spring of this coming year. But it's basically a look at the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, and it's set in a 1920s, like to 30s kind of post-Depression era. So it's a little more of a modern day telling, and the whole idea of Hadestown is the underworld is this mining town that people who can't afford to live it up on top, as they say, they have to then go there and work. And it's really cool because in it, the main characters are Orpheus and Eurydice, and if you don't know what that myth is, what it is Orpheus was this amazing poet and just speaker, and he would sing these amazing little pieces for people and serenade them. So the myth essentially starts with him and Eurydice, who's his fiance, walking up to the aisle as he's standing there, and Eurydice, I think it was a jealous nymph or something, I don't remember the particulars, sends a poisonous snake who then bites Eurydice's ankle. She falls dead immediately, and Orpheus is so grief-stricken that he goes to the doors to the underworld, and he's like, Hades, you gotta let me in, man, I have to find her. And he's like, I guess, moved by that. And I'll go into like why the musical explains that a little further in a second. But he gets moved by that, so he's like, fine, you can take her out of here, but you can't look back. So they make it almost to the very end, like to the top, getting out of the underworld, and Orpheus looks back and Eurydice's lost forever. The little like nice part, if we want to think about it, is later Orpheus dies, and then the tagline is him and Persephone walk the river Styx together. He can look at her as much as he wants, or whatever. But anyway, so the jazz show, it's set to New Orleans jazz and folk music, which is really cool because there's not a lot of Broadway shows out like that right now. But it modernizes it where going to the underworld, as I said before, was that mining town. Eurydice goes there because Orpheus is a poet and he has no money. So she goes there because she's like, hey, winter's like coming. We have no firewood. We have no food in our reserves. I'm going to go here and make money. And that's where the estrangement comes because he's like, oh, she went without me. Oh my goodness, no. And in that, the river Styx is actually a train. And the drachma is like how much you pay to get on the train to get a ticket. So there's a lot of like steampunk vibes to it, but yeah. So that was one I told you about last semester.
Yeah, I really want to see that. You bootlegged it, didn't you?
No, so it's such like an intimate setting. There's no bootlegs out because it's an interactive show. So Persephone, she runs up on top, which is kind of this, what is it called, like a speakeasy, and she has like moonshine and all of that kind of thing. So during intermission she serves drinks to the crowd. So you have like no way of bootlegging this because they will see you immediately.
Yeah,
but it's a very cool show. The soundtrack's on YouTube. That's how my sister and I picked it up.
Yeah, that's right. You played a little bit for me, and the music is
so
really
good.
It's really
yeah,
good.
because I've heard that Moulin Rouge is also based on Orpheus, the Orpheus story.
I can't believe
Which
that.
I
That's
wish
so true.
Right.
Though.
Okay. So like, Kallie, you and I watched it like our freshman year, and it destroyed us because we weren't expecting. Like, I wish I would have known that this was based off of the Orpheus story because it like wrecked me.
I'm not gonna lie. While we were watching it the entire time, I was just like, I think this is so stupid and I don't like this. And then it hit the end and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes, after the Roxanne scene, like after that, my sister and I were like locked in. We're like, oh,
I was
great
just like,
movie.
this is so good now.
Before that, we were like, what is going on right now?
If I would have like kind of had the plot line to already follow like that, I think I would have liked it the entire time.
I don't know though, but like, is that kind of canon though, that most people are like, oh god, this is the weirdest goddamn thing I've ever watched in my life, and then like you get to the shit and you're like, Moulin Rouge is my favorite movie ever, it's the best thing, you need to watch it. Like, you get like on a dating site or whatever, and it's like, so what are you into? Oh my god, Moulin Rouge is like the only thing I've ever watched my entire, since birth, like Moulin Rouge.
Exactly, and I totally agree, because Holly and I, going into it, we had only known about it through the Roxanne song.
Yeah.
So we had no idea what this what this movie was going to be. And we started watching it and we're like, what is going on right now? Like, I had to look up like a research article about Moulin Rouge, like dissecting all the intricacies of the plot and like how it plays into pop culture, just so like our minds could wrap around what was going on.
God, this scene, the characteristically green alcohol that makes you go crazy. That scene. What is that alcohol called? I just need to know because I'm going crazy.
I have no idea
what is that called? The like stuff that absinthe.
Is it absinthe?
Yes, absinthe.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
don't like that.
Ewan McGregor. When Ewan McGregor drinks absinthe, then everything just goes crazy, and you're like, what is happening?
What a show.
But like, I would watch it all over again and be like, this is art.
Yeah. I own the DVD, so if you ever...
They also have it in the library.
That is how we watched
it for those of our listeners that if you didn't just randomly find us and you actually are an Oklahoma City University student, they have it in the library if you'd like to check that out.
Yeah, we have a little video section on the second floor, which is really nice.
It's not on the second floor
not?
anymore. They moved it to the first floor. Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it. I know. Yeah, I went up there and there were books. I was like, there are books on the second floor of the library? What's happening?
No. Books?
Books in the library? We're not funny.
Okay. We're terrible. I think earlier we didn't go into it fully, and I want to address it before the podcast is over, but we were looking at Aquaman and Wonder Woman and how like Greek myth plays into them.
You know a lot more about Aquaman than I do.
Yeah, a little bit. I know more about Wonder Woman than Aquaman.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, so the cool part about Wonder Woman is Greek mythology in a lot of DC comics is just directly injected, which is so cool because I love Greek myth. I'm trying to go to grad school to study classics. It's the best. And Wonder Woman's really cool because even like her armor and like her weapons reflect Greek mythology because like I think her bracelets were those are from like the shield of Zeus, so they can reflect lightning in some of the comics. And then her little lasso truth is from Hephaestus, which is like totally cool.
Hephaestus is the best.
He's so cool. He was underplayed in Percy Jackson. Like, I'll throw that out there.
He's like that secretly gentle dad that just loves you from his whole heart, but doesn't know how to tell you.
Like he goes to your baseball games as like a way of being like, I support and love you, but then you get back in the car and he's like, that was a good pitch out there, and like that's the whole culture.
And that's all he says.
Back.
And he's just quiet the whole time, like doesn't shout or anything on the stands. Like he just is like very introspective.
Yes.
He loves you inside of his mind, but he's not going to tell you about it.
This is cool. Because of Percy Jackson, I got into like metalworking and stuff because of leatherworking because of it. Because I was like, oh, this is cool. Let's make our own shields and the whole thing about it.
What is Wonder Woman's genealogy though? Like,
her mom is Hippolyta, and then in some of them she's the daughter of Zeus. In others she's not. In the current one, as well as the animated DC film that came out in, I believe, 2009.
Yeah.
What that was that the Amazons were failing because Ares had waged war against them, and they needed a like quote unquote like god killer. So Hippolyta prayed to either Zeus or Hera, depending on which iteration it is, to grant her a daughter, and the daughter is then Diana or Wonder Woman. And since she's half god, which could be either the Zeus iteration or just blessed with these godlike gifts, then that's kind of her thing. So she's the princess of the Amazons, and then in some of them she's a demigod. In the current one, she's a demigod.
I've never actually heard of what was her name again? The god that's her mother, or can sometimes be her mother?
Hippolyta. And Hippolyta's not usually... She's always her mom, but Hippolyta's not a god.
Oh.
In some of the iterations, Hippolyta and Ares had a love affair together. So I think in the 2009 one, I think Wonder Woman might actually be Ares' daughter in that one. So then when he comes back to wage war against all of them.
What is Hippolyta's role then in Greek mythology?
She's not. I don't think she's actually in Greek mythology.
Oh, then she's just a rando.
I think she's just a rando.
So she is the one that is like in charge of Amazon.
Yeah, she's the queen, and like it's amazing.
So she is.
So she's a part of. All right,
Terry. Because I remember in the 2009 movie, at least, how that whole thing with Greek mythology played out. Since they had that whole, I think with that one, since Ares is the god of war, he was provoking war at the time, and before that the Amazons weren't really like a female-centric warrior society, and what happened is all of like their men, like all of their warriors were killed, and they were like, Hera, what do we do? Like, Zeus, help out, what's going on? Your son's being a jerk and killing everyone. So then they granted them immortality and gave them these weapons and these gifts, gave them Diana, and then they went to Themyscira. They were shielded from the view of man, and they were able to make this amazing utopia. But
have you read Herland?
No, what is Herland?
It sounds a lot like this. Charlotte Perkins Gilman was a writer in the Victorian era, and she wrote The Yellow Wallpaper, which was about the woman who went crazy from hysteria. And it like is like a totally like look on social issues during that time. But she also wrote a utopian novel called Herland, which consists of women who are asexual, can reproduce on their own without men, and it's like a society of all women. And that's like the premise of it, is that like their society used to have men in it, and then all the men died, and they were like, well, in order to keep surviving, we have to adapt. And so they just adapted, and they can just have children without men, and it's great.
There we go.
It's kind of preachy, but like, I love my girl, Charlotte Perkins Gilman. She's the best.
We'll definitely have to pick that up.
But I feel like she probably got a little bit of inspiration from that, because like all of the writers of literature are well versed in Greek mythology.
Even like Harry Potter, right? Doesn't that have a lot of like influence, like especially like names and stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, used to be a professor here, Dr. Sin.
Yes.
She had a class that was based on mythology, so like that's what a lot of my, I guess, any knowledge I have comes from that.
Yeah.
But she was obsessed with Harry Potter. So it was just like she found all these different connections. And you took a class, didn't you?
I did. I took a
With her?
Harry Potter class, but we didn't really talk about the Greek mythos that much in the Harry Potter class. So you probably know more of the connections in Harry Potter for the Greek mythology.
Yeah, I don't think I remember them. But
names are one of them, like Remus.
Well,
is
Hermione.
I don't know the other ones though. That would be cool to look at, but we're clearly not going to do it right now because we don't know anything to say about it.
But yeah,
my goodness.
she and like Fluffy is Cerberus.
Oh, Fluffy is
that's
Cerberus.
cute.
You're
Yeah.
right. Oh my god. But he's like, well, in Percy Jackson, Cerberus is also just a sweet boy. He's not even mean.
You just have to play fetch with
Yes,
him.
exactly.
I will admit I've never read Harry Potter, so everything you're saying is all Greek to me.
We're,
so.
Oh my gosh.
We're kicking you off of the podcast.
Oh my
guys.
You
I
have to
will leave. Goodbye.
Can you insert an edit of a door opening and closing?
Yes, make sure to put a drachma under my tongue when I am gone.
Oh my god.
Dear Lord.
Well, I'm not gonna sprinkle any dirt on you like in Antigone. Make sure that you're not
gosh.
buried. And then you have to die and your soul doesn't go anywhere.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll keep a lock of the hair.
Please keep a lock of my hair. When you ride into battle, always.
I'm so glad that we've started making Oedipus references. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't think we would get to this point, but we did.
We have made it, guys.
Honestly,
That Oedipus thing? I thought I had problems. You know what this is from, don't you?
what do you? No, I don't know.
Hercules. It is
Oh.
the Hercules Disney movie.
Oh
I am
my
disappointed in you.
I'm sorry.
I will be honest, that's one of my favorite movies.
It's so good.
It's so good. I love that Disney recently started posting their behind the scenes of like the making of the films and like the music.
Uh-huh.
So you can see him in the booth, and it's really cool because like the tonal quality of the guy's voice, you can tell he's smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's such a young and like hopeful character. So he uses a lot of like wide vowels. But anyway, that's not literature related. But I just like the timbre of his
But
voice.
if
It's
any of
very
our
cool.
listeners have listened to any previous podcasts, they know that none of these go in any kind of linear direction
They're all
whatsoever.
over the place.
That's our brand to our
To go all over the place.
to go all over the place.
Okay. Guys, have you ever watched Atlantis? Not the movie, not the Disney movie, but the BBC show.
Yes, I have. I watched the first season. I got up to the gladiator match.
Are you also in love with Jason?
Oh, his eyes are so dreamy.
He's so
like
wonderful.
you look at him.
I just, I love him, and he just, it's great.
I really like the actor they pick because you look at the character and go, yeah, he could steal a golden fleece.
Oh,
I see it. I see that
Yes.
happening.
I just
Yeah,
used
yes.
my computer to
He's
look him
so
up,
attractive.
and he's really nice.
And he's shirtless all the time and stuff, and it's really worth it, guys.
Oh my
Even if you don't. Okay, I'll elaborate a little bit. So like,
Can you describe his face for them, please?
I
think they need to
can't.
know.
I can't.
Okay.
No, I was talking about the show. I'm trying to be semi, like, not academic, but, like, structured in this. No, so he starts out, like, on Earth, like, our world, and he doesn't know who his father is, and he goes in this submarine and just, like, washes up eventually on the shore. And it's, like, the Greek myths and stuff are all going on in this other world that he just like washes up on. Is it actually Atlantis? Like, is it called Atlantis?
I don't know if it is.
I don't either.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't remember. But they bring him out, and he kind of becomes their champion.
Basically, because okay, so the king and queen of the place are the ones that which one has like the Minotaur?
Oh, the Minotaur?
Yeah.
Who is that?
I don't know. It's
I don't remember
it's
who
not
his name is.
the gosh, what's his name? The gold guy.
I know. I was saying Midas, and I'm like, it's not Midas.
The gold guy, Midas.
I think
Yeah.
it might be him actually.
I feel like it's not.
I don't know. Anyways, so he gets in trouble basically with them, and he's just like, in and out of a good relationship with them, and he's falling in love with their daughter.
Of course.
He does.
Yeah.
And she's beautiful as well,
Of course
but
she
like
is.
he needs me. So
Yeah, Callie's
he
gonna
needs
be
to
there for
come
season
back
3.
to Earth. Or I need to go to Atlantis, one or the other.
Probably you
Anyways,
need to go to Atlantis.
I mean, that makes sense. It really does.
yeah.
I would enjoy it.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
You got a lot of the know-how. You know a lot about the culture of this stuff. I think you would do fine.
I would be great. I'd be golden.
You would be golden.
Oh my
Golden as a
goodness.
golden fleece.
On a total like side note, because since we've dealt with a little bit of mythology throughout this podcast, I thought it would be nice to bring in some mythology puns. So I took the liberty of looking some up. Now, I have one that I did not look up, but I told it to my sister the other day, and it made her cringe. And if it made her cringe, I have to say it to other people.
Right.
And it's about Medusa. So it's around
Oh, no.
all of Medusa's, like, you know, the story. And people go up, they get turned into stones. And, you know, I think it's a really great, you know, idea and narrative. However, I really wish you would stop objectifying people. You get it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Poor Medusa.
Oh, Medusa.
She is a victim.
She is. No, I read this really cool research article looking at Medusa. And it was the whole idea of, like, you know, one, she was a sexual assault victim, and then, as you said earlier, I think off of the podcast,
Yeah.
was that they then vilified her in a lot of stories. Because, like, females always become the scapegoat in a lot of Greek
They
stories.
do. When the gods rape them,
Yeah.
like, that's the essence of what happens in most
Turning into a deer.
most
and then-
mythology is either Zeus or Poseidon
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
one of the men rape somebody.
And then, surprise, we have a hero. See,
And then the result
is
is a hero.
So it's a hero.
But Lord
Oh
help
my
the
God.
mom. Like
Yeah. I will say, though, I wish I had found this before we got into the movies, because I could have let in and been like, have you ever watched those Greek mythology movies? You oughta see them.
No, that was bad. That was really
That
bad.
was bad.
that
That
was
was from a
cringy.
hindsight.
No, yeah, I don't think I
apologize.
can let you say any more puns, and I think we're about out of time anyway. Do you want to do one more pun, and then we'll just sign off? After
no,
that?
what's your favorite god?
Ooh, that's a hard question. You go first.
I don't know the answer. I was gonna steal.
You're gonna steal somebody else's.
I picked the worst god ever.
Oh, I know who I like. Artemis.
Ooh, she's so
She's so cool.
She's bad.
And she doesn't ever have to
badass.
deal with men.
Oh
which
my
is
God.
just kind of ideal.
Also, she's the only one that can put her brother into
And
his
she
place.
can kick her
Yes.
brother's ass is what she can do. And
Oh my God. The Hunters of Artemis and Percy Jackson.
they're so
the dream.
like honestly I so
gonna be Talia.
I would be
Yeah.
I would be her.
Probably
if I
wouldn't
could.
want to like be a tree for a little bit. That'd be.
It just seems like a
Suck.
Kate thing.
Be
I
a
mean,
tree.
just be
I-
a tree for a hot
just
sec.
get murdered on my way into the safety.
Well, you
of
didn't
Camp
because they
Half-Blood.
saved you and turned you into a
Only
tree.
because she was Zeus's daughter. If she was like Poseidon's daughter, bitch would have been dead.
But, like, think about it, though. If you were a tree, endless meditation. You don't have to listen to bullshit from other people all the time. Like,
You
Wait,
don't age.
wait.
Everyone you love is gone. It's fine. I love being a tree. I love paper cuts forever.
you don't get the paper cut if you're a tree.
Have you not scratched yourself on bark before?
Yes,
But
it hurts.
she's not fully the tree. If you watch the terrible second Percy Jackson, movie,
We're
which I will
not
only
talking.
reference
No,
here.
we are not bringing
Movie
that in here.
adaptations are not welcome here.
Well,
Except
that's not
Hercules.
true, but stinking Percy Jackson, no way in heck. Okay, however, I think it's a tie for me
Yeah.
between Artemis
Yeah.
and Dionysus.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Why should I pick him? You're like, I'm the party god. Oh my goodness.
He's so great.
I was gonna say Hestia.
You
That makes
stole
sense.
mine!
You're welcome. I love her to bits. I also loved Eris because, I mean, come on, she's a goddess of chaos. She was in Sinbad back in the day. I want my hair to be as flowy as that one day. But she was really cool. And then I think Demeter. Demeter was dope.
Yeah.
She was awesome. What was
I
yours?
well, Hestia. I love Hestia. But I also have to say Hephaestus is like he's just
so
I mean,
cool.
we talked about this already, but like he's just like
Didn't start
just
any wars.
a gentle little dad. Like he's just my fave.
Yeah, he just wants to create, didn't start any war. Isn't he's married to Aphrodite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that's like a whole thing.
Because
in the books.
Ares and her have a fling
Of course
constantly, and that's the whole, like, they're trapping them in the amusement park.
Oh, that's such a great part of the novel. Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness. Well, I guess we're out of time.
Yeah, I think so. Hope you enjoyed this very chaotic conversation about a very chaotic mythology.
Very Eris-like, am I right, guys? Because she's the goddess of chaos.
Oh my god. This was Lit Chat with the Omega Phi chapter of Sigma Tau Delta, and this was Maddie.
Callie.
And Kate.
And hopefully we'll chat with you next time on Lit Chat.
And Tia Sauce. That's goodbye in Greek, by the way.